Okay, there you go. Marhaban, Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak. We are very, very happy to have our wonderful guests with us today. We want to wish all of you a happy, healthy Ramadan on behalf of myself, of the board of directors, our staff, and all our volunteers. We wish you and your families a Ramadan Mubarak. We wish you all a healthy, safe month. So today we have with us the Mayor of Patterson, Andre, Andre Sayegh, Mayor Andre Sayegh, and we have the Mayor of Prospect Park, Muhammad Khairallah. We have freeholder Asad Akhtar with us, Commissioner Fahim Abd Rabbu, and Councilman Ala Abdul Aziz with us today. So we're going to be going around, and each of them are going to be giving you a short message, and then we'll wrap back here, and I'll give you a short message on behalf of PAC. Thank you very much for listening, and to start off, we will start off with Andre.
Thank you, Rania. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Kareem. Unfortunately, due to this crisis, we had to cancel our second annual community iftar here at City Hall. Last year, Councilman Al Abdulaziz and I co-hosted, and we had over 200 participants. This year, we were looking to have at least 1,000, looking to expand, and also not just expand the actual event, but expand people's knowledge of Islam and what the holy month of Ramadan means. The journey that Muslims embark upon to build a better bond with God. But that won't preclude Muslims from doing that this year. It's just unfortunate that we can't come together as a community to break fasts, to discuss timely topics, because now more than ever, we're going to need to bond amongst all of us and get closer to God. So I do want to just inform people that in Patterson, we have a Fanus, Councilman Abdulaziz. I was there today and I saw it, and I saw that we're putting up banners wishing everyone a happy Ramadan. And today I was at St. Joseph's Hospital. The film industry has joined forces and they're providing food for those who are on the front line, meaning our heroes in our healthcare system. And I was also joined by volunteers from the Palestinian American Community Center. They've taken it upon themselves to create a clean team, and they're disinfecting specific areas in South Patterson on Main Street. So I was joined by Raad Od, who is a board member. I believe he's a founding member of the Palestinian American Community Center. And we're focused on our senior citizens. Our elderly are at risk. So the city of Patterson has provided over 1,400 senior citizens with free non-perishable meals. And we just launched today a program where senior citizens will not have to leave their homes. They can order groceries over the phone with participating supermarkets, and volunteers will deliver those groceries to those senior citizens at no cost. And we're also focused on the homeless. So if there are individuals in Patterson that need shelter, they can dial 211. Either a police officer or an Uber driver will transport them to a participating hotel, one of 5 hotels that are participating in this program. So in this holy month of Ramadan, let's not forget those who are most vulnerable, our elderly, our homeless, and especially those who are unemployed at the moment. That's why we had a small business webinar to focus on avenues of recovery for people who have been out of work or small businesses that had to shutter their doors because of the crisis. And so we know this is probably one of the worst times that we've ever experienced, but it doesn't mean it cannot bring out the best in all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor, for those encouraging words. We do hope all of you are safe and doing well with your families and taking advantage of the different services that are provided in Patterson and Clifton and throughout. Thank you very much, Mayor Andre. Next, we want to go into Mayor Prospect Park, which we're very happy to have joining with us today, Mayor Muhammad Khairallah.
Rania, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin Rasulullah. First of all, let me start by wishing everyone a very blessed and Ramadan Mubarak. I apologize about the noise from outside. We're starting our birthday siren celebration, so we have a few families to visit. But as was mentioned earlier, unfortunately, with this COVID-19 situation, we're all confined to our homes, which is counterintuitive to what we do during Ramadan, which is get together, particularly the large gatherings, the large the Taraweeh prayer, the large azumas that we all do, and meet with each other. But obviously, staying away from these type of gatherings is what we need to do as brothers and sisters to, and as Americans, to stop the spread of this virus. So I think we could take Ramadan in a different direction in terms of reflection, where we're not overindulging at the iftar time. You know, you have small settings where you eat in small meals. So not only are we feeling the suffering of the poor who don't have as much as us during the day, but we don't feel that suffering that we usually have at night from overeating as well. So I think it's a time to continue to reflect and thank God for the blessings. Thank God for the fact that we are still alive, the fact that we are still healthy. This virus has killed almost 200,000 people around the world in the past probably 4 months. It definitely surpassed what a normal flu would do. So it is nothing that we should mess around with. And it is our obligation to make sure that we do follow regulations, that we do practice social distancing, that we do wash our hands and sanitize. Look, all the directions that we give you as local government or state or federal governments is for the safety and protection of our fellow Americans and for your own protection. So we thank everybody who's been cooperating. New Jersey has been doing a phenomenal job in terms of flattening the curve. So we hope that we continue to move in that positive direction. And again, I want to wish everybody a happy and blessed Ramadan.
Thank you very much, Mer Khairallah. We're very lucky to have you as part of our community, and we echo again the word and messages is please take this time. I know it's not our typical Ramadan, but take this time as, you know, as an opportunity for reflection and spending time with your family and really trying to find the positives that are happening, you know, and the fact that we are really blessed, you know, despite the current situation that's going on. So with that, I'd like to invite our next guest, Passaic County Freeholder, Asad Akhtar. So please help me welcome him.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much, Rania. Thank you to PAC for always being there for the community, for leading the way. This is a good opportunity for us to talk to each other and touch each other in our lives a little bit during this time. Ramadan Mubarak, Ramadan Kareem. I know that this Ramadan, we're never really prepared. Most of us, I know me personally, every time Ramadan comes around, I'm never really prepared for the journey, for the challenge, to improve myself, to make myself better. It's not just about fasting, but it's the internal improvement that we all know we need to make. I'm never really ready. This year, I think we all feel like it's not the same. It's different. We don't necessarily have that same feeling. Maybe some of us are separated from our families. I know that there are many frontline healthcare workers and our first responders and others who are putting themselves in the most danger as far as the situation goes, and many of them are just working and separated from their families for one reason or another. And there are other ones who are missing loved ones because they are either in the hospital fighting to live or have passed away. So we know that we are not quite whole for this Ramadan, but that does not mean that, as others have said, this does not mean that we're not blessed. It does not mean that we're not together. It does not mean that we don't have an opportunity just because we can't necessarily break bread in the same place. It doesn't mean that we can't connect with one another, still make this a joyous and a powerful and important month. Pray together, talk together. So I thank PAC for leading the way, using this as one example of how to do it. There are others, but please, I encourage everybody, don't use Ramadan as an excuse to break the progress that we have had. I know that there are those who want to be critical of people in Patterson or in New Jersey or in America in terms of trying to criticize others. And there have been some who have been bad actors, but for by and large, by the most part, alhamdulillah, I am really proud of how people have treated this, how they have done. I think by and large, we have been able to fight this virus with our efforts, and people have cooperated. So please, please don't use Ramadan. One, you know that people will try to shame us as a community or otherwise. Will try to use this as an example of what not to do. But more importantly, this virus is not going away. We have made real progress. The curve has been flattened, but the virus is not going away. The virus is not going away. We know that, as much as we might hope and pray that it might just disappear one day. It's going to be a part of our lives for a while in one form or another, even if it subsides, even if the weather makes a difference. We know the weather is going to change again. So we have to be careful. We have to follow the instructions. And right now, the instructions from every level of government are to stay home, continue what we've been doing. So please do not use Ramadan as an excuse. I'm proud of our masjids and others who've complied with this order. Please don't use an excuse to undo the progress that we've made. And we made real progress, but we've also suffered so much. And just a small understanding of this disease or this virus. You've seen so many people in our community be lost, and I'm talking about our larger community here in Patterson, Passaic County. You've seen so many people be lost in the last few weeks, and that's because it's not because I know it hurts us even more, and it's devastating. But the truth of this virus is that it rarely kills quickly. Usually, people will not. You know, we know that people will get the virus but not feel symptoms necessarily for a period of time. Then they may try to fight it at home as they should. Then they get too sick, they go to the hospital. If they don't progress, they get put on a ventilator. They could be on a ventilator for weeks, and then unfortunately, too many have been lost to this disease, to this virus, over time. But it's a period of weeks. So the people who were infected weeks ago may be passing now. So you may think, oh, well, the worst of it is gone. But if you go out there and we start congregating again, we'll start the cycle all over again. And it won't be a cycle of days or weeks. It'll be a cycle of weeks and months. That's how it works with this virus. It takes weeks and months to transmit. As a Passaic County freeholder, I'm proud that we were one of the first counties in New Jersey to set up a drive-through testing site at William Patterson University. It is still open. We have tested over 5,000 individuals. I'm incredibly proud of everybody who's volunteered to make that possible, including a number of people from our community, people with medical training, medical backgrounds. They have completely volunteered to go put themselves in harm's way. We've given them the protective equipment, but still they're increasing their risk. And they've gone out there day after day to test people. And we're testing hundreds of people, over 500 people a day. It's at William Patterson University from 9 to 12. It's always from 9 to 12, a drive-up site at William Patterson University, 9 to 12. The regular days are every day except Wednesday and Sunday, but this is liable to change based on the weather. So check the Passaic County Facebook page or the Passaic County webpage for any updates on that. There are changes that have to be made due to inclement weather because it's an outdoor site. We are working with other partners to try to establish more sites, but unfortunately there are limitations based on personnel, based on protective equipment. But we are trying because we understand that not everybody can get to that site. But if you are feeling sick and you can get a prescription, you need a prescription. If you're feeling sick and you need a prescription and you get a prescription, go to our testing site 9 to 12 every day except Wednesday and Sunday. But check ahead before you go, and it's there at William Patterson University. And thank you again to Ronnie and Pac for putting us together. And inshallah, we will beat this.
Thank you very much, Freeholder. I'd like to echo the Freeholder's sentiments in thanking our first responders in the hospitals, in the volunteer testing sites, and in all the different locations. We know it's been difficult, and we really appreciate your service to our community. And with that, I'd like to introduce 6th Ward of Patterson's Councilman, Ala Abdelaziz, to give us a word.
Thank you, Rania. And Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak to everyone. I want to thank Pac for having us here and my colleagues from across Passaic County. Welcome, Ramadan Mubarak. I'm not going to talk about some of the COVID precautions. You've heard our mayors. I just want to tell everyone: do not let this virus dampen our faith. Right? Like the mayor stated, we put up the fanus located on Main in Gould Park. We, with the PAC and the president, Diab Mustafa, I want to thank him, our DPW, we put banners across Main Street wishing everyone a happy Ramadan. We want to continue bringing up people's spirits, but by practicing social distancing and making sure we follow the guidelines from our governor and our mayor. I'm proud to represent one of the largest Muslim and most thriving communities in America. And you know, this time of year is usually a busy time of year for South Patterson and the business district and the families coming together. Do not stop supporting our businesses. They need us. You know, we may have to do a little different this year. You know, we were talking before this, and, you know, all these iftars and the buffets and everything and congregating in the restaurants. We can't do that this year. But we could support and pick up food from our local establishments. You know, South Patterson has some of the best restaurants throughout the state of New Jersey. You get your food, you can get your desserts. But I do want to tell you and everyone else out there that's going to come into South Patterson to break their fast and pick up the food, please do not congregate. You know, law enforcement officials will be out and about throughout Patterson and some of the state partners. I do not want South Patterson to be on the radar or on the map, as you see with our governor. Support our businesses, pick up, curbside pick up. Our businesses have been aware of this, so please. We all know what happens, right? Right before 30 minutes before we break fast, it's a swarm to the restaurants, and then everyone's waiting in the lobby. Try to stay in your cars, call the restaurants, have them bring the foods out to your cars. And lastly, I received many calls. I don't know if everyone remembers last year with the partnership of the Palestinian American Community Center and also with the help of the Islamic Center for Passaic County. Last year, we distributed thousands of toys on the night before Eid, and many people called me. We do plan on partnering up again, distributing toys throughout the 6th Ward for the people that are celebrating Ramadan and their Eid. We're going to do things a little bit different, but we still want our kids to be happy and enjoy the holiday. So I'm glad to announce that this year we will be still giving out toys. If we can, we still got to call some of the toy companies to see if they're up and running, but it's still at the preliminary stages. And I do want to announce that we do plan on doing that. So the kids that look forward for that, I want them to be excited. And inshallah, we could do it again. And hopefully we could do things as normal when that time comes. But if not, we do have plans to follow the guidelines and the restrictions. But do not let this dampen our spirits. Do not let this dampen our faith. And I wish everyone a happy Ramadan. Ramadan Mubarak. And thank you. And lastly, Rania, thank you and the PAC. I'll be remiss if I don't give them a special shout out for everything they've been doing during this crisis, helping me out, partnering up with me, the mayor, the city, the county, to give resources to people in need, not just Palestinians, not just Muslims, not just Arabs, across the board. And I got to commend them. They are been ahead of the curve, from disinfecting the streets to distributing 300 meals to our senior citizens, to nonstop. You know, they call me every day with new ideas for our community. That goes from the executive director Rania to the board, Diab Mustafa, and the board members are constantly out there. I commend them, and it really is commendable that you guys are doing this, and I'm proud once again to be part of the Palestinian American Community Center and part of a great community that wants to give back to our city and our state in the time of need. So Ramadan Mubarak, and everyone have a healthy and safe Ramadan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilman Abdulaziz. It's been very great seeing how the community has risen together to serve different members of the community. It honestly gives me a huge source of pride to be part of this community, to see how every part of the community is being served in one way or the other through different organizations that have been listed, such as Islamic Center for Passaic County, such as Smile for Charity, such as Wafa House, and many other organizations that are working very hard to make sure around the clock that our community is being served. And with that, I would like to invite our last speaker, Commissioner Fahim Abed Rabbu. And I also want to invite our audience members. If anyone has any questions, we're going to be taking a few. You can leave them in the comments below, and then we'll be asking them after the last speech. Thank you very much. Fahim Abed Rabbu.
السلام عليكم كل عام وانتم بخير بصحة السلامة إن شاء الله. I want to thank everybody a Ramadan Kareem, Ramadan Mubarak. I'm going to start off with just some numbers in Clifton and then just give a quick little thing for Ramadan inshallah. So Clifton right now to date has, and I just got the information from our health officer yesterday, as of 4:45 p.m. on April 23rd, 1,718 cases of COVID across the city of Clifton, unfortunately 65 deaths. As all the brothers and Sister Rania has mentioned about, you know, these numbers can be maintained and can be controlled if we all do our part to stay apart 6 feet from each other, wear a mask, wear our gloves. I see people with no gloves on. Gloves are important. You still can catch something from someone even though you're not sure they have it or do not have it, or if they do have it. Ramadan is extremely important, as everybody said. You know, we are used to being together, and I believe, as Brother Kharallah said, Muhammad Kharallah said, or was Asad, use this time to build a prayer space for yourself, as the Sheikh has said in the past couple of weeks, and more than that actually. Build a prayer cell for yourself, prayer area for yourself and your family. Read Quran, teach your kids prayer, inshallah, explain what Ramadan's about, even if they're at the age of doing so. Of carrying out their fasting. It's important. It's a time, alhamdulillah, I use it for my 5-year-old and 3-year-old, same way. We sit down, we have a corner. I've seen Brother Iyad Asmaru from A to Z Printing, who also, if you look at his Facebook, he built a makeshift masjid to do the same thing. So, you know, it's good to see that we're thinking outside the box to make sure that Ramadan is not different for any of us and for our neighbors, and how we can either do a Quran session through Zoom, through the computer, whatever it may be. But inshallah, I wish you guys a blessed Ramadan, inshallah. I want to also give, for the Clifton Public Schools, we have our food that we are still giving out every 3 days a week, for every week, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. I will share the Arabic version that we had sent out, that we had made. I'll share with Rania inshallah, so maybe she can send it out or put on our on the PAC Facebook page. The locations are Clifton High School, Christopher Columbus Middle School, and School 17. Again, I will share that with Rania as if they've posted before in the past on the Facebook page. And echoing everybody else, you know, it's important to, while they don't ask for it, but it's important to recognize PAC and the American Emergency Committee and these other organizations who are doing something and not just sitting back. It's so easy for us just to sit back and not do anything. It's so easy for us to, you know what, I'm just going to take care of my family, put my gloves on, put my mask on, and not do anything. But the fact that people day in and day out are doing something out in the field, out with the public, out with their neighbors, and not being asked to do so, but doing it from the willingness of their heart. As Muslims, as a Muslim, I'm very proud. As Arab American, I'm very proud. As someone who is in our holy month of Ramadan and helping our neighbor, bettering ourselves, being closer to God, helping humankind, helping our neighbor. It's good to see what we're doing as a community to fulfill who we are, as our obligations as humankind, as mankind. And the last thing, I've had some few people ask about the fanus in Clifton, and yeah, I mentioned the other day during our Facebook Live, which has over 15,000 hits because of ICPC and working with them, and it's good to see that people are still tuning in, because that sense of going live gets people that Ramadan is here. Ramadan, alhamdulillah, does not stop because of something like this. Our faith does not stop because of something like this. And as well, we said, you know, the fanus should not stop because of something like this. So I want to thank A to Z Printing for allowing us to put the fanus up this year at Clifton on the corner of Park Slope in Maine, by Maine Memorial Park, where also, alhamdulillah, we've been praying Eid there for the past couple of years. So pass by, take a look. There is a rope wrapped around it to make sure. Stay away, please. Do not touch the fanus. You don't know who is going to have what. Somebody may not have, you yourself may not have any sort of symptoms, but may touch it and leave the virus behind for the next person. So please keep cognizant, be aware of your surroundings, be aware of who's around you, what you're doing. You may not realize what you're touching, but please be very, and that's why gloves are important. Just be very aware and in tune to what you're doing. Again, I want to thank PAC. I want to thank my colleagues from Ala to Asad, Muhammad, Mayor Andre Saif, to everybody who was on this. Did I mention Muhammad? I don't know, but anyway, I will again, just in case, to make sure. It's all these guys have been doing their thing in their respective towns, respective counties, respective whatever they're able to do within their area, and even reach beyond their boundaries. PAC has done the same thing. Many folks in our community have done the same thing. And to leave it to that, inshallah, this thing will be over soon, and the next Eid we get to pray together and we get to be together, inshallah, for in the masjid and just celebrate together as one community rather than doing this or yelling across the street from one neighbor to another, inshallah. Thank you, Rania.
Inshallah, thank you very much, Commissioner Abed Rabbu. I want to echo his sentiments that this is a time to utilize online. And on that note, PAC has been, since the COVID crisis started, having and providing different programs online, including Community Check-in Fridays, How-To Tuesdays, Workshop Wednesdays, Game Night Thursdays, Serene Saturdays, and Reading Challenge Sundays. We also have a program that we launched called Homework Help, which we have experienced tutors helping your kids or anyone that you know with their e-learning that's happening online. So please make sure to visit our website, which is below at www.paccusa.org, and to also just echo everything that everyone was saying. We are here for you at the Palestinian American Community Center. We know that this is a tough time. We know that this is not normal, what's happening. And we want you to know that if you have any needs, please make sure to call us. The number is below. It's 973-253-6145. And we will try to help you. And if we can't, we'll make sure to connect you with an organization that will. So with that, I want to open it up to questions and comments. So the first one, we'd like a shout out to our mayor from Ra'ad Oda, where he says our mayor who is always hitting the ground running. And then he actually has a follow-up question, which is, Mr. Mayor, when am I allowed to open my barbershop?
Okay, so if I may,
Please.
look, by the way, I'm a little biased. Ra'ad is my personal barber, and he is the Bruce Lee of barbers, and that is the highest compliment I can pay, because I think very highly of the late and lamented Bruce Lee. So we are not going to talk about a date. It's about data, and we're monitoring metrics. We want to look at the infection rate. We want to look at the hospitalization rate. We want to look at the calls for service to our ambulance. And once we start seeing that those metrics are more favorable, then we'll make that decision to reopen our economy. But I can reassure any resident that is a little hesitant. One, I've asked my public health officer, Dr. Paul Prasad, to work with our economic development director, Mike Powell, to let us see what a reopening of an economy would look like. What would the plan be? And with barbershops, and Rod, thanks for asking that question. With barbershops, I anticipate going to an appointment-only format. You're going to have to wear gloves. You're going to have to wear masks. You're going to have to keep that 6 feet distance from one another. So those are just some of the things we've been thinking about. And we've been thinking about the restaurants as well, and what we would do as far as occupancy is concerned and spacing with the tables. So thanks for asking that question. But just to reiterate something I alluded to earlier, we're not looking at a date, we're looking at data. And I believe that Mayor Khairallah pointed to the fact that we're flattening the curve. That's encouraging. We got to keep doing that. So once we slow the spread, then we can take the necessary precautions to reopen. But the analogy I like to use is a faucet. We're going to turn that faucet on very carefully. But if things, unfortunately, start to erupt again, we have to quickly turn the faucet off. But it's all about measuring and the metrics. It's all about the metrics. We got to see that the certain rates are on the decline.
Thank you very much, Mayor. We have a shout out for Mayor Khairallah. Good afternoon, Mayor Khairallah and everyone, from Jennifer Lynn. So I want to ask, building on Mayor Saad's point, right now Ramadan is a time for families to get together. Do you recommend that people go back to, normal iftars at people's houses or not? And if someone can please speak about that.
If I may, I was thinking about, what about Zooming your iftar? or WebExing. Look, this is obviously this is the now normal. We talk about the new normal. This is the now normal, and we don't know what the new normal is going to be looking like after this is all said and done. But I would take precaution, particularly with the elderly, because they're at risk. I wouldn't jeopardize anything, because people have said it. You could be asymptomatic carrying it, and then you've transmitted to that individual, and then there could be consequences that are, quite frankly, deadly.
Absolutely. Right.
To everyone also, as much as from a government local standpoint here, the mayor, myself on the council, Khalala, freeholder, commissioners of schools, we have the governor supersedes all our executive orders, right? So right now with the barbershops, the governor hasn't opened up that faucet for barbershops. We could say we want to open them up, but the governor has made it very, very clear that he's not easing up as of yet with restrictions. And I tell people, try to stay within the social distancing. I know it's tough with our families because we have more than 10 people in some of our regular households, and they want us to limit to 10 people. So, I mean, I'm not going to, this is the first Ramadan that I'm not going to my mom's house on the first day of Ramadan. Once, we got a big family. Two, the mayor said you don't know what you may have, but then you may give it to Sido or sit there, or whatever it is. You don't want to do that. So I would be very cautious. And when we're in a conference call with the governor for Ramadan, he said something that made sense. That's sitting there in my mind. He said, let's make sure we practice social distancing for this Ramadan, so we can have our iftars for next Ramadan and go back to normal. So, that's something that resonates. So please be careful. Let's suck it up for this year and move forward.
What I like to tell my residents is, obviously, just like an exposed wire, assume that the wire is live. You need to assume that the person in front of you is carrying the virus, and that person should do the same, because there's an incubation period of up to 14 days. So we could be spreading the virus. If someone has it, they could be spreading it for 14 days. And unfortunately, what we're seeing, and just knowing about some situations of people visiting each other, they're practicing social distancing in a supermarket, they're practicing social distancing on the street, but then they go visit their friends that they're used to visit before all of this happened. And guess what? They went to visit one sick lady, and then we had a cluster of a whole bunch of sick families. So you need to assume that the person in front of you might be carrying the virus. You don't know where they've been. And the saddest thing is to have in the back of your mind that you might have carried the virus to someone and caused their demise. So obviously, as much as we would love to, and just like I spoke about it in the beginning, the spirituality, part of the spirituality of Ramadan, the get-togethers, but unfortunately, this year, getting together without having a vaccine might cause more harm than good.
Yeah, if I may, it's we don't, as Mayor Saleh said, this is not normal. What normalcy was is not what normalcy is going to be. What you were used to, as Alat said, going to his mother's house, as we all do, to go to our parents' house the first day of Ramadan and enjoy it with them, is not going to happen. But again, at the same day, do you take that opportunity and risk going and doing things and being with other people and infect other people, or do you play the safe game and make sure nobody ends up in the hospital, samahallah, nobody ends up with some sort of mild corona, as some people call it, and not feeling it till 2 weeks later, or walk away and like, I'm good and healthy, but then I touch something somebody else does, and now that person's sick and they're in worse off position than you are. So for us to see the next Eid, for us to see our kids grow up, for us to see our neighbors get older, our senior citizens get even older and being with us till 100, 120 years old, inshallah. We need to be safe. We need to be in the mindset and the mindful of, you know what, I'm going to do my part and stay back. And as Ala said, the governor mentioned keep your social distance. For one, I'm hoping the governor, he said May 15th we'll go back, and I know inshallah it won't happen, but my gut says it won't happen. But again, I'm not the governor, but saying that schools will revisit schools open May 15th, I as a parent don't even feel comfortable doing that, because again, we need to make sure the elderly and the youth are safe. Whether they're saying the older you are, the worse it gets, the younger you are. I mean, you guys can tell me. What's the youngest age you've seen pass away or end up with corona and end up in the hospital? Samahullah. It doesn't matter. Age, color, gender, sex. It doesn't matter. It's just the most important thing I think is to just keep, like I said, keep cognizant of what's going on, who you're touching, who you're talking to, masks on at all time. I was in Carrados today and somebody took off the mask to talk. I'm like, I can hear you through the mask, right? Stick it back on. I'd rather hear you mumbling than actually catch something from you. So just be safe. That's the safe is going to be the most important word for everybody.
And Rania, if I may have another bite at the falafel here. So I knew you'd all appreciate that. You're fasting, sorry. So social distancing shouldn't mean spiritual distancing. I started off by saying this is the time to focus on building your bond with God. So yes, we're apart. I mean, this is a time of separation, but it should also be a time of solidarity. And it's a time for sacrifice, but also a time for service. And that's what PAC is demonstrating. And that's what we're all demonstrating right now. And I think that captures the essence of Ramadan, the charity, the solidarity, and focusing on your bond with God. So social distancing should not mean spiritual distancing.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mir. And I want to echo actually the Mir's idea. I have seen it that people are doing Zoom iftars where you support local businesses, you send the meals to their houses, and then you open up Zoom or FaceTime or anything, and you have iftar together. So definitely, push that idea. And again, like the Mir said, it's not only about having meals together. There's many other ways that we can take advantage of this.
And if you want my address, you can send the food over.
So I want to shout out Al Abdul Aziz from Hamad Hamdan.
Okay.
I'd like to also shout out everyone.
Oh,
but in
God, of course.
Allah.
That guy's such a single fan. He's a Tom Brady fan. Oh, my God.
And also, Ramadan Kareem. God bless you all and stay safe and stay strong from Fawaz Daramna.
Can I just do one more thing since Intishan's looking? Hey, Intishan.
Yes.
You still a Brady fan, Intishan? Yeah, that's what I thought. I'll take TB12. TV by TV, baby.
Rania, another unfortunately, I mean, Councilman Abdulaziz and I were working on, and PAC was going to be involved with raising the Palestinian flag. We are a proud municipality, one of the few in this country that does that. And look, that's just postponed. We're not canceling that one. That's going to be postponed. Inshallah, look, there's a couple of things we got to look at, right? We're about 3 to 6 months away from therapeutics, so there could be a treatment for this. Vaccine is probably 12 to 18 months away. Then we're going to scale up testing, contact tracing, all that you've heard from various individuals in public office. That's exactly what has to happen. That's the game plan. And so at that time, when we have a treatment, when we're testing at the level we should be, and it's rapid testing so that we know immediately, not waiting 3, 4, 5 days, so that people who have tested are still out in public and potentially transmitting. So once we get to that point, the contact tracing is where it needs to be, then we can raise the flag in perhaps more subdued ceremonies.
Absolutely. I think there's definitely the phrase of new normal that's going to be established after this, and I think that's definitely where we're headed. So with this, I'd like to ask everybody to give their closing remarks,
Sure.
specifically if it could be targeted around Raed's point. Give a shout out to the PAC president, Diab Mustafa, and then ask, where do you see us in 5 years? You can take your interpretation of that if you want to think of how do you see the future moving forward for now.
Right.
And we can do those closing remarks. Thank you very much. So whoever would like to start can go.
Where would we see the PAC in 5 years?
I think our community in 5 years.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If I may, I want to talk about 10 years because you got to fill out that census form. I got my shirt here. It's sensational or sensational. And the PAC has stepped up. They're a leading voice to raise awareness relative to the significance of the census. So if you want to talk about where we are in 5, 10 years, it'll take less than 10 minutes to determine the next 10 years. Because if we get a complete and accurate count, particularly in Patterson, and Clifton's doing pretty well. I got to give a nod to Fahim. I know he's the catalyst behind and spearheading that effort. And Prospect Park's doing pretty well too. We've been looking at your tracker as well. But look, Councilman Abdulaziz, Freeholder, Assad, 2 Patterson residents, fellow Pattersonians. We get a complete and accurate count. Thank you very much. You get a complete and accurate count, and this is a call to action. You're home. Do your homework. This is your homework. Go home and fill out the form. You can do it online for the first time ever. A complete and accurate count means there's money for emergency preparedness, for disaster relief, for potentially another hospital. Does that sound like some things that we need now in this current crisis, in the pandemic? Also for our schools, Fahim is a school board member. Also for our roads, you know we need to resurface our roads. How about for our political representation? All of us were involved in 2012 when unfortunately we lost a congressional seat and it pitted our congressman against the congressman of Bergen County. And Assad, you worked at that time for him as his district director. We lose that seat, it stays in Bergen County for a very long, long time. So the stakes have never been higher. So Diab Mustafa, we love you. Rod Ode, we love you. Rania Mustafa, we love you. We love PAC. PAC is here to stay forever. But 5-10 years, it's all determined by what we do in less than 10 minutes, filling out the form. Thanks for assuming the leadership mantle relative to this very important public initiative, filling out a form and making sure that everyone counts.
Thank you, Mayor. We absolutely agree that sentiment. I put the website below. Please, please, it will not take you longer than 15 minutes if you have a big family. If you don't have a big family, it'll take you around 7 to 10 minutes. It is very, very important, especially as the Arab population. We need to make sure we fill out the census. And so please make sure to fill it out. And there's our shirt. So please make sure to fill it out. Would anyone else like to give a closing remark?
Ramadan Mubarak, everyone.
And that's a councilman. They like to talk.
They're good Ramadan. You know, I've learned less is more with our community. So Ramadan Mubarak, everyone have a great holiday.
Go Raiders.
Councilman
Oh.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so thank you very much. I want to thank PAC for hosting this important forum. And obviously, I want to thank them for their donation to the Prospect Park first responders of sanitizing equipment. So we thank you for your generosity and everything that you are doing. I do want to echo the sentiment regarding the census. As of right now, 52% of Passaic County residents have done their census. And if I could share some numbers with you, I can tell you 2 examples. We had in Prospect Park one time an election, a Board of Education election, and that's where most of your tax money go. Won by 1 vote, and that person walked in at 9 p.m. as the polls were closing, back when we had the April election. That's a long time example. Recently, Passaic County qualified for $87 million from the federal government CARES Act to help with COVID-19 situations. The reason we qualified is because we are a county over 500,000 residents. Guess what? Our count, I think, is 500,001. So if we would have undercounted by 2,000 10 years ago, we would have not received $87 million. So that's how important it is for everybody. When you talk about resources for schools, when you're talking about resources for municipalities, the better we're counted, obviously, the more potential for funding that we can get. But to answer your question, as a community, I hope to see us in 5 years better coordinated. I think we're doing great progress in terms of representation in Passaic County, but I would love to see better coordination. With that, I say, Ramadan Mubarak, everyone, and stay healthy.
Thank you very much, Mayor Khairallah. I believe any last words before we close?
Well, I just want to echo what the mayor said, Mayor Khairallah and Mayor Saya. You know, when Riyad asked, where we are in 5 years, think about where we were 5 years ago. Okay, if you did this call 5 years ago, you'd only have Mayor Khairallah and maybe Councilman Syed. on the line. All right. Now, and there's a bunch of us who are elected in Passaic County that are not on this call. So in 5 years, I think we're ahead of schedule. I think PAC is ahead of schedule. I think the community at large, the Palestinian, the Arab, the Muslim community at large is ahead of schedule. And we got a ways to go, but we have been fighting and working together. And everybody here on the call, we're not just friends, but we're allies and partners. And we thank PAC for bringing us together. And in Ramadan, we build bridges and we build bonds. And inshallah, we'll become stronger from this. We won't remember this as the COVID Ramadan. Remember this as Ramadan, we became stronger. Inshallah.
Absolutely. I love that message. And I hope that, I want that we can come together and move from this and become an even stronger community. And I also want to thank all of our officials in Passaic County. I agree 100% with Freeholder Akhtar that we did not have everybody on the call. Actually, StreamYard only limits to 6 people. So hopefully in the future, we can have a platform that we can have everyone on the call. So we're very, very happy to have those that are with us. And we thank everybody for serving our community. And with that, I'd like to give final shout outs. So thank you, Imran Hassan wishes everyone a Ramadan Mubarak. Jennifer also wishes everyone a Ramadan Mubarak and wishes everyone stays safe. And Musbah, thank you very much for joining us.
6 1 right there.
Yes, and thank you, Hiam, for joining us, and thank you, Israt, for joining us from Michigan. I love you too. And with that, I wish you all a happy, blessed month. Please stay safe. Please make sure you are. And last one, shout out to our mayor, Andre Saad. I couldn't let that one go. Please make sure you're staying safe. There are we're in a time of innovation. So think of different ways to make that, spirituality happen. All of our mosques are actually having beautiful live streams. I highly recommend everyone to check that out. And remember, this is not about social isolation. This is about social distancing. So find a way to connect with someone. And with that, I thank you all. I wish you all a happy Ramadan. Stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful rest of your evening.
Take care.
Assalamu alaikum.